Well, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us on After GMS, something we like to do on Facebook Live every day at 7:45. I'm Tracy McCain here in the studio. Meteorologist Rand Kirksey and Ed Matthews are both tracking the forecast. Stacey Spivey and Megan Malaris are working from home. But we like to start with a forecast because, well, one, it just kind of sets the mood, right? Especially when it's a nice day. Unfortunately, we don't really have that on tap for today, do we?
No, not at all. Unfortunately, today we are going to see a decent amount of cloud cover. We'll have a little bit of drizzle and fog out there this morning, and eventually we will start to see the chance of a few showers and storms here or there. The chance of rain only around 30%. Otherwise, it's just going to be a mostly cloudy and kind of a gloomy looking day. Temperatures will be somewhat comfortable as far as our highs are concerned, with highs only in the lower 80s, but it will be very, very humid. So you will have to deal with that. As we go through Wednesday and Thursday, we're looking at mainly dry conditions. And then by Friday, a cold front will move in, and that will give us a chance of a few more showers and storms. And if we're lucky, if that cold front can completely clear the area, we'll have a pretty nice holiday weekend on tap. We're talking about lower temperatures and lower humidity. We shall see if that unfolds as we're thinking right now, but hopefully we can get some nice weather in here just in time for the weekend. Let's quick look at your 7-day forecast.
And that's when it counts, you know, nice weather for the weekend. As Ed Matthews says, let it rain on company time.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of my favorite Edisms. All right, let's start our first conversation here, and it's a big one. Governor Roy Cooper expected to make an announcement today. Stacey, let's get started.
Yeah, Governor Roy Cooper is expected to talk about his reopening plan for the state today. So this morning we want to know, which phase do you think we should be in right now? Is it phase 1 or our current phase 2 staying there, or should we move into phase 3? You can let us know right now in the comment section below. The governor's office says any changes would take effect later this week. Governor Cooper extended phase 2 back at the beginning of August, and it's set to expire September 11th. Under this current phase, bars, bowling alleys, and gyms are mandated to stay closed. So after 101 days in phase 2, the governor could loosen up the rules. We'll just have to wait and see, and his press conference will begin at 3 this afternoon. Of course, we will keep you updated on any decision that he makes. So let's go ahead and talk about it. What I found really interesting is that we've been asking you guys in polls ever since this began about what phases you think we should be at what time. And the past 2 times that we've asked you about it, everyone seemed to be, the majority voted that we should stay, or that we should go back to phase 1 actually. And then this morning, whenever we polled you guys, it seemed like more people are actually ready for phase 3. So interested to see what some people are going to be saying on Facebook right now.
Yeah, I'll let you monitor those comments, Stacey, while I read some from my Facebook page. One that really hit home was from Sanya Stewart, who said, until you lose a close family member, you can say what you want to happen or what you think should happen. But if this virus finds or chooses you and your family, you will understand that at the beginning, if we had sheltered in place for just 2 weeks, we might have not been in the place that we have to worry about phases. Whereas other people are saying, like Elliot Roberts, he says phase 2, when you start feeling better, you don't stop taking your meds, you finish them all. So a lot of passionate responses that I'm getting on my Facebook page about what phase that we should enter. And some people saying that we should have never been in this situation in the first place. So it's going to be interesting to see what the governor decides today, if he makes an announcement about easing these restrictions at all, or what restrictions he does decide to lift. 3 o'clock today is the expected announcement, but at this point, I'm not surprised by anything that he would have to say. Ed Matthews, we'll send it to you.
Well, I tell you what, there's no doubt about it. We all want to go to phase 3, but we'll have to wait and see what the governor has to say. Maybe we're going to ease into phase 3 with conditions. Maybe that's what he's going to talk about. I don't know for sure, but certainly that is a possibility. But I do want to say that this remains, and it has continued to be this way throughout, how careful you are, whether you go out or you stay at home or wear a mask or don't wear a mask. That is your personal decision. So if we go to phase 3 and you choose to be extra careful like Ed is going to be, yeah, I don't care what phase we're in. I'm going to still be careful, but maybe he's going to loosen the restrictions just a little bit and not just dive into phase 3. It'll be interesting to see what the governor has to say today at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, we definitely can agree on that, Ed. Taran, we'll send things to you.
I mean, we just have to go where the data takes us. I mean, it's just kind of like in real life. Sometimes you take jobs that you don't want because the data says, you know what, this is going to get me to my goals in the end, so I'm going to do that. So we'll see, you know, what happens with the announcement later on today. Hopefully, you know, the numbers and the data continue to move in a positive direction, and we can get on the other side of this sooner rather than later.
Absolutely. All right, Megan, close us out here with your opinions on this topic.
Yeah, so as you said, the governor has not said specifically what he's going to announce today. Our news partner in Charlotte is reporting that a spokesperson for his office said he does plan to announce some kind of easing of restrictions, which could take effect later this week. September 11th is the current date for when the already 3 times extended phase 2 is set to expire after September 11th. So moving into phase 3 would, of course, increase the capacity limitations. It would reopen bars, gyms, other theaters that have remained closed, but I believe it would still put restrictions on nursing homes. And just because there is a possibility of a phase 3 in the near future does not mean that the governor is going to go that route. He could do a modified phase 2. We've already seen an extension and somewhat modified phase 2 before. That is another possibility. Looking at the numbers, and before I say anything about the numbers, I want to say I want this pandemic to end just like all of you do. So I'm not saying my opinion or anything in reflecting these data points of the numbers, but there are still more than 900 people in statewide hospitals, and the percent positive, while it is decreasing and that is encouraging, it's still more than the 5% goal the state wants to see consistently on average to allow for that next phase of reopening. So I think we're all cautiously optimistic. Here we do have to take in mind the precautions that are still in place, the mask mandate, for example, and wait to hear what the governor has to say today. These decisions being made by state leaders, I don't think we envy anybody having to make those decisions. There's no easy answer for any of this.
Well, with about 283 people on our stream right now, Stacey, you have a lot of comments to choose from. You've been monitoring them. What are people saying about the possibility of easing restrictions?
It seems like the majority of people on our Facebook stream right now are in favor of moving into phase 3. However, a lot of people do think it's going to be modified. Let's just take a look at some of the comments. Valerie said keep phase 2. Actually, she said mandatory mask, but yes, open gym. Let's see another comment from, sorry, I'm scrolling through. There's a lot of comments out here. Judy said, Ed, you're right. Take all the precautions you can. Nancy doesn't think we're moving at all into a different phase. Isaac says he's ready for phase 3 and he's hoping for a cure to get rid of the coronavirus. I think that we can all agree with him. We are ready for a cure. But very interested to see how, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of people previously said we need to go back to phase 1, but it seems like the majority now saying maybe it's time for a phase 3, but with some restrictions on that.
Right, so again, let's just go over the timeline and recap. We do have some new people on our stream who joined in the last few minutes. Today at 3 o'clock, the governor will announce something. Megan is reporting, our Charlotte sister station is saying that could possibly be an easement of restrictions. Again, phase 3 is supposed to start next Friday, September 11th. So our timeline right now, as we're now in 101 days of phase 2, today at 3, we could know what that means about phase 3, which technically begins next Friday. All right, that's our timeline. That's our rundown. Megan, you have our top stories.
Yeah, while we give you all a chance to continue commenting here, let's take a look at our headlines this morning. We do know the alcohol curfew will remain in place. The governor announced that part of this yesterday. Alcohol sales will have a curfew of 11 p.m. statewide. This mostly applies to restaurant bars, for example, not necessarily to retailers. The governor's order initially expired last night on alcohol sales, but he signed another order extending the ban on late night sales through at least October 2nd. 2 Triad schools in Randolph County are reporting new COVID-19 cases. And let's see the latest on that. I'm sorry, this iPad is refreshing. Here we go. The first at Southwest Randolph High School. The school reporting at least 1 confirmed case. Right now, no word yet on if the school will close, but school officials say anyone who was exposed there will learn from home for the next 2 weeks. Remember, Randolph County has been doing a mix of in-person and remote learning. Trinity High School also reported 2 more cases of the virus there. Now all students at Trinity will learn remotely for the next 2 weeks. Randolph County was one of the few districts in the Triad to start the school year with that AB schedule. Guilford County Schools parents and students, don't miss this update. Starting today, meals will be available from 11 a.m. to noon at all district schools. You can pick up breakfast and lunch for the following day. The district wants to ensure it continues getting lunch program funding, so make sure you apply for the meal benefits online. As we mentioned here, the number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in the U.S. has surpassed the 6 million mark. Sadly, more than 183,000 Americans have died. The deaths are more than 1/5 of the global total. Looking at the numbers here at home, part of which I mentioned earlier, the 1,186 new cases reported Monday bring the total to more than 163,000 since the pandemic started in North Carolina. But the Monday recovery report was really encouraging. It shows the large majority of those cases, more than 145,000, have recovered already. Hospitalizations are holding steady with 923 patients currently in hospitals, and testing turnaround time is speeding up with an average of 2 days.
Some updates if you're planning any trips in the next few months. We all know the coronavirus has put a pause on travel in an attempt to get you back on board. More airlines are actually dropping their change fees. The expensive $200 flight change fee for most domestic tickets are on hold, effective immediately for Delta, American, and United Airlines. Normally in the summertime, 2 million or more people will pass through security checkpoints at U.S. airports each day, but that number hasn't been above 900,000 since mid-March. Even without change fees, plenty of other fees will survive. Many airlines also charge extra for seat assignments, more legroom, priority boarding. So this morning we want to know, with the new change, will you be booking a flight now, and where will you go? I don't think at this time I'm going to book a flight for anything in particular, but I think the very first flight that I will book is to go back home to Arkansas just so I can see my friends and my family that I miss so much. You know, my entire life, I've been so close to my family, and during this pandemic, I've only seen them one time, and that was for my brother's wedding. So I'm so ready for this to be over so I can see them and hug my 84-year-old grandmother.
Oh, well, at least you got to see them for such a great occasion like a wedding, right? That's awesome. All right, Ed Matthews, I know where you're going.
You know me well, don't you? I'm not going to book anything for the rest of this year. I am hoping to get down to my favorite place on the planet, Key West, Florida, but that won't be until next June. Oh my gosh, I hope by next June this is all a distant memory.
Yeah, I agree. All right, you're more of a Southern Florida kind of guy. Taran Kirksey likes to travel globally. Paris, France is on his list. So where would you go?
Well, do have some plans to go to Europe maybe next year, but in the short term, I guess I'll go back home. It's been a couple of years, so I probably should go visit the old stomping grounds. Either that or just somewhere on the beach. That would be, well, a different beach other than North Carolina beach. Done that a few times now. Now I need a warmer beach. Maybe Florida would be nice. Maybe I'll go down there to Key West with Ed next year.
Oh, well, make sure you stay far away. He's got a reputation in Key West.
Do not tell.
I will not. I promise. All right, Megan Malaris, the mood is light. Why don't we capitalize on this? Where are you heading?
I I would love to go back to Europe, although I have been to Key West at the same time Ed has been down there before, and it is a ton of fun. So I would love to go back to Europe. We're hoping that in the next 5 years, these restrictions will ease, and then our child will be old enough where we would feel comfortable leaving him with the grandparents for a few days. Not quite at that stage yet, even if Americans were allowed in Europe right now. But, you know, I think everybody's just itching to travel. That said, I am not planning on taking any unnecessary flights in the near future, at least not until there's a COVID vaccine. I do think some situations are case by case, of course, and depending on where you're going and how you're flying and what type of aircraft it is. You know, is it a 2-seater row? Is it a 3-seater row? Could you be sitting by a stranger? How packed are the flights? There's a lot to consider, and there's no one size fits all for this. You just have to do what's best for you and your family given the circumstance.
Yeah, I count my blessings every day that my family is here, you know, born and raised here. My mom lives an exit away from me. I can see her whenever I want. I can cook for her. She can cook for me. My in-laws live 20 minutes away, still in Greensboro. So I'm very, very blessed, and I count my blessings every single day that, you know, family is here and home is family. So I don't have to get on a plane, and I haven't needed to in a while, but I do feel for, you know, Stacy, your family's close. I get it. My mom is my best friend. So I want you to be able to see your mom as soon as you can. Megan, the same thing, you know. So hopefully that will happen soon for you guys. Or your moms can just move here. How about that? No? Okay. You're like, I don't want them too close. All right, let's see. Are you monitoring comments, Stacy? Do people have a destination in mind?
I'm not really seeing where a lot of people have weighed in on this. One of our favorite people that is always on after GMS on the stream, Jason, he said, just goes to show you that those charges airlines have are bogus. Made me giggle.
Yeah, because if they can be waived so easily, why aren't they waiving them when you're like upset and, you know, like crying like, oh, I don't want to pay this fee, you know? I don't know. Jason always has good points. All right, and Ed Matthews, you always find a bright spot in the forecast. Let's see if you can do it again.
Well, I tell you, I'm not so sure I'm going to be able to do a good job with that today. The fog situation improving, but we still got a lot of low clouds across. Pretty tough today, but I'm hoping for at least some peaks of sun midday and on through the afternoon. So we'll call it variably cloudy. A sprinkle or a shower this morning, and then a few showers, maybe a storm this afternoon, and lower 80s because of the extra clouds. But tomorrow and on into Thursday and Friday, we are going to crank up the heat. We're going to be in the upper 80s tomorrow, mainly dry on Thursday, and 90, back up around 90, maybe a few afternoon storms on Friday. We'll have a cold front that right now looks as though it's going to move right on through the area, and if that does happen, we're going to get some less humid and cooler air for the weekend. It's not easy to get a cold front to move through in September, but maybe this time it'll do it. Go ahead and make those weekend plans.
And who's the artistic genius that added that graphic on top of the Labor Day?
Well, let's see. I got to go all the way back to our chief meteorologist,
Okay.
Tim Buckley. He did that on his 7-day yesterday, and I did a little copy and pasting this morning. And we do that. we all do that because it kind of highlights the holidays that are coming up in the 7-day. So it's a good opportunity for people to see, oh, Labor Day's coming up on Monday. I didn't know, but I saw it on the 7-day.
Copy and paste, artistic genius. I mean, really, it's the same.
It's it.
Don't discount yourself, Ed Matthews. That was talent. All right, guys, thanks for joining us on After GMS. Again, the governor expected to address the state at 3 o'clock today. Stay with us on WFMY News 2. We'll have it on air. We'll also stream it live on our YouTube page and on our Facebook stream, so you can watch it any way that you can get it. Thanks for watching us on After GMS, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.